persuading and educating you on the dangers of microplastics. So in this presentation, I will begin by defining what microplastics are, and then I will describe how they affect us, from our digestive system to our respiratory system to our nervous system. Then I will focus on existing regulations on microplastics, how you can avoid microplastics, and how you can protect others from microplastics. Let's begin with what microplastics are. In a paper published in Environment and Health, Lee explains that microplastics are small fragments or orbs of plastic ranging from 1 micrometer to 5 millimeters. Why are microplastics so important? Well, the simple answer is that they're found everywhere. They're found everywhere from the tops of Mount Everest to the bottoms of the Marianas Trench. They're also located everywhere in the human body. Stephanie Dutchin, a writer for Harvard Magazine, has found that microplastics have been located in blood, saliva, kidneys, the lung, and the placenta. Since they're so ubiquitous, since 2010 there have been a lot of studies questioning the effects of microplastics on the human body, and in general, they have found harmful effects. We will first observe the digestive system. Microplastics tend to end up in the human digestive system through bioaccumulation, which is a process in which toxic chemicals accumulate as we go up the food chain. For humans, this most commonly occurs with seafood, because in the ocean, the food chains tend to be longer. Two scientists, Fournier and Lebec, have studied the effects of microplastics on in vitro intestinal cells. They have found that microplastics alter the balance of bacteria in the intestines. They create more harmful bacteria and fewer beneficial bacteria. This also causes microplastics to slow digestion. Additionally, when microplastics are broken down in the intestines, they produce harmful compounds like scitol. It's clear that overall, microplastics produce a harmful effect on the digestive system. Microplastics can also enter the human respiratory system. They're generally inhaled from small plastic fragments generated from abrading clothes or paint. Yonglin Ji listed the effects of microplastics on the respiratory system in the Yonsei Medical Journal. He found that they cause sneezing, coughing, and shortness of breath. Subhash Saha has described the mechanism by which microplastics create these symptoms in the Helion Journal. Microplastics, when present in the lungs, can interfere with mucous membranes. Also, microplastics are not easily filtered out of the respiratory system due to their size. They occupy just the right amount of being small enough to be not filtered out by the mucous membranes near the upper part of the lungs, while also being large enough not to be brushed out by the ciliae in the lower part of the lungs. Microplastics also have various negative effects on the brain. Uli discusses how they inhibit neurotransmitters and they're able to pass through the blood-brain barrier. After they pass through the blood-brain barrier, they also destroy nerve fibers in the brain, which can cause developmental disorders and memory issues, which has been proven in mice. Now, some people doubt the efficacy of these studies on the harmful effects of microplastics, and they have some reasons to do so. There have been no studies which fulfill the gold standard of medicine, which is a double-blind, placebo-controlled trial that have determined the harmful effects of microplastics in humans. But the reason for this is quite reasonable. It's because it's hard to find a control group to study since microplastics are so omnipresent. Now, basically everyone has some quantity of microplastics present within them. However, there has been a large amount of tentative evidence in favor of microplastics causing harm and very little evidence showing that they're safe. Existing countries and regulatory agencies tend to agree with me on this, as they have often issued bans or restrictions on microplastics in commercial products. The EU has already issued bans on microplastics in glitter and other cosmetic products, and various US states have banned microbeads to be present in products where they're not necessary. This is also an international issue, as various organizations like the UN and the World Economic Forum have also called for a reduction in the usage of microplastics. It's clear that it's better to be safe than sorry when the potential threat of microplastics spans the entire globe. So how can you personally avoid microplastics? Well, the first step is to avoid single-use water bottles. A study by Rodriguez, a plastics researcher, finds that single-use water bottles release 6 times more microplastics into the bloodstream than drinking tap water. In general, it's also important to avoid extreme heat or cold near your food, like with plastic takeout containers. These extreme temperatures can cause plastics to abrade and insert more microplastics into the human body. When it comes to clothes, it's better to avoid synthetic materials like polyester and prefer natural materials like silk or cotton. Around young children and infants, it's most important to avoid microplastics. Specifically, avoid steamed silicone teeth, as the production process makes the material more likely to abrade and makes internal consumption more likely. Finally, it's important to avoid allowing your plastic consumption to affect others. Support agencies like Food and Water Watch, which promote clean water and reduce the amount of microplastics present in the environment. It's also important to use less plastic in general and to recycle plastic whenever possible to prevent plastic from ending up in landfills where it can break down and turn into higher concentrations of microplastics in the environment. I hope that I've educated and persuaded you on the threat of microplastics that we all face. Thank you for listening.